Yeah, hello, you there, Morgan?
Hi,
Hi.
are we doing video? Let me pop my video on here.
Video is preferable because we live in the digital world.
We do. Content is king. We need the
Yeah,
content.
absolutely. Well, my name is Ned. I'm the guy, Rock 108 dude on the afternoons, and I also run the feature mandatory metal as well too. So I have been listening to you since day one,
Thank you. That's amazing.
back in the day when, yeah,
I was gonna say we must be old then.
yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Definitely the late 30s. I've got the two kids now and a house and a mortgage, and it's just like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Feeling it.
excited. Well, it's definitely a pleasure, and when I saw that you guys were releasing new music, and all of a sudden I got the email about the new single, and I just went, "Can I talk to Morgan?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yes, fucking awesome."
Amazing. Well, I'm glad to be here, and thank you so much. I'm glad you're liking the new stuff. So.
Yes, absolutely. So on that note, Kitty back in action again after over a decade of not new material, but brand new material now. New album Fire on its way out too, and your single "We Are Shadows" is your highest charting song on active rock charts as well too.
Isn't that something? Oh my gosh. Like I never in a thousand, a million, a trillion years would I have ever imagined that we would be back in this place again and doing this amazing stuff. I mean, I'm here for it.
It's awesome to see you back in action too. I mean, again, like I said, I was there at the beginning, especially with the album Spit, and when Brackish was really kind of making its way. And even one of the most fascinating things about you guys is that when I was 14 years old, I was not starting a band by any means, but you were.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Sometimes we've always been a little bit wild, a little bit defiant. When someone says, "Oh, you can't do that," we'll be like, "Nah, just you watch, we will."
And that style, let's just say that lifestyle, let's call it that at this point. I love being told you can't do it because then that just gives you more energy to be like, no, watch me. I think I'm going to at this point.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it's like lighting the fire under your butt, It's you know, proving the naysayers wrong and proving people wrong that say, "Oh, you can't or you shouldn't" is like it's what I live for.
Yeah, absolutely. Just prove them wrong with success.
Mm.
In a way, if that's what you want to call it. So Kitty, obviously, first new material in over a decade with the new album Fire. You have it coming out on vinyl, you have it coming out on cassette, CD, streaming, you have merch packages including a lunchbox. So where do
Yeah.
where do these ideas come from? Is this, as someone who's been in the industry as long as you have, and seeing it from like when record albums died out, now they're back. CDs are kind of dying out, but there's still that love of them, and cassettes as well too. What kind of goes into picking the formats essentially?
Yeah, well, we like to kick it old school.
Mhm.
I myself am an old person. But I don't know. I think that there's a lot of nostalgia in the tangible collection.
Mhm.
I know vinyl is a huge thing, and it seems like it's bigger than ever. And so having a number of different vinyl offerings was pretty important. And I know a lot of people love the variants, and so having like really exciting colors and things that kind of match with the theme of the album, obviously super important.
Mhm.
We threw out the cassette idea. I was actually Mercedes that was like, "Oh, that would be really, really cool." I know that as someone who does collect a little bit of dead media, there are people that love the cassette format too, and they're just like, they collect it, and it's not that they're playing it. Like, who has
Mhm.
a tape player anymore? But
Mhm.
it's like for your shelf, for your little collection or whatever.
Yeah.
And so those are the kinds of things that were going into it with the lunchbox. That was us bringing back something that we had done originally like 25 years ago. We had a lunchbox that was available at like Hot Topic and a few other different retailers. I think like FYE, Spencer's, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, and so we were like, wouldn't it be so fun to like bring that back? And it's like, you get your cute little lunchbox and you can fill it with all your creepy stuff. And it's kitty branded. I don't know. Thought it would be super, super fun to like bring that sort of 90s vibe back.
I am a 90s vibe guy, and right
Mm.
now with when you say nostalgia and bringing back kind of those old formats, that stuff is hot right now. I mean, it is just all of a sudden, because we've all gotten to that age where we, in a way, kind of have money, I guess. We have money finally. And now we want to buy back our childhoods, essentially. Like, oh, I remember I wanted this when I was a kid, and now we can.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. I've seen a lot of people comment on some different shirt designs and things like that, merchandise, like, oh, my mom wouldn't let me wear this shirt when I was a teenager, but now I'm grown and I can buy it myself. And I'm glad that you're offering it again because now I have my own money and I can buy back my teenagehood.
They did that with Gene Code jeans. The Gene Code jeans are
Hmm.
weirdly coming back as well too. And I'm like, what? And okay, I remember when this was cool ish in
Yeah.
1997, but
That one I don't know if I can get behind,
yeah,
like,
that
I
one,
did it once,
mhm,
and, like,
yeah,
I can remember walking out in the rain, when it comes, they're so big at the bottom that just, like, up to your knees, wet,
yeah,
never again, never
yeah.
again.
This just seems like a lot to wash. I don't know if my
Mm,
washing machine can handle this anymore.
exactly.
You could say the same thing about trip pants. Remember, you don't see trip stuff much anymore. But I remember you
No.
back in the day, that was kind of like a staple wear.
Yeah, absolutely, the big Jinkos, big trip pants, I regret getting rid of a lot of that stuff,
Yeah.
only, for the whole nostalgia thing, I certainly wouldn't wear it, but just,
Mhm.
to, like, look back and be like, "Wow, I could fit 3 people in this pant leg here." Amazing stuff.
You could actually fit a portable CD player nowadays. Now everyone just has their
Yeah.
phone, just slide that sucker right in there, and you're all
Yep.
good.
Mhm.
So, one thing I got to bring up too is that I was listening or a previous interview that you did, and I would love to hear a little bit more elaboration on it. Is the fact that you say that the world is ready for Kitty now, and as someone who was on the Ozfest in the late '90s and such, and now seeing the fact that you've risen to the charts at this point and kind of just really kind of getting another new stride. How does that kind of feel to kind of go basically let's do this again, but now the world appreciates us in a way?
Yeah, I mean, it truly is a really, really wild feeling. I often have a hard time putting it into words. It's just there's so many emotions involved in the experiences that we've had in the past. And yeah, like I think when we were young and wild and our first album came out, there was a lot there was a lot of people that were interested in the band, a lot of people that loved the band,
Mhm.
but, I have heard a lot of people say things like, well, we just never really, got where to the heights maybe that some people thought that we possibly should have. And,
Sure.
I think that, maybe we were just a little bit ahead of our time as far as that kind of acceptance. And, we definitely slugged it out year after year. Since then, and sometimes taking a little bit of time away to reevaluate and sort of be able to appreciate all of the things, the good and the bad. Sometimes that's needed in order to really put things into perspective. And I think this decade plus that we were away, we really were able to do that and heal a lot of the things of the past,
Mhm.
to be able to return feeling as strong and powerful as ever.
Yeah, and during that time, you were doing the Witch Finger horror podcast as well too, and you were kind of doing that. What happened to the podcast? I saw that your last episode was uploaded on 2021.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, the pandemic happened, and our vibe was very much like let's be in person, and there wasn't a lot of that happening back a few years ago.
Mhm.
But the other two girls that were doing the podcast with me actually moved to different parts of the country, and it's hard to do what we did, doing things like through Zoom and online. Our chemistry really was all about having some drinks and watching a bad movie together, and
Yeah.
it's hard to capture that chemistry. And so we just decided to put it to rest, but who's to say that that won't come back at some point? I'd love to be able to do like a reunion episode with the girls, and I know that they would be happy to do it too, so.
I know that the question is always asked anytime you mention any kind of horror movies, and I'm a horror fanatic as well too. What's your favorite horror film?
Oh gosh, that's like what a big question, right?
Right. I know it's like the most standard question too.
Yeah, it's so hard. Like, I mean, Hellraiser is great. Return of the Living Dead, I think usually is like my go-to because it's a classic.
Yeah.
Just so many good and
There,
bad movies.
yeah. I mean, I remember back in the day, you could go down the lines in like Blockbuster or Family Video, and you would just go down the 2 for 1 section and just start grabbing videos and like, what am I going to see this weekend? That's how I
Yep,
discovered like Army of Darkness, Evil Dead,
yep.
and Friday the 13th, and all that stuff. It's just so cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love horror. I'm a big fan.
Yep, same. And there's a band out there I'm sure you might have heard of, Ice Nine Kills, that
Hmm.
recently did 2 albums called The Silver Scream 1 and 2, and they were really paying tribute to all these horror films and even on stage and presenting that out there as well too. So if you ever get the chance to see them, which I'm sure you maybe have, I don't know what your schedule's like, but they're a pretty fun time to see.
Yeah, I love that. I love the horror aesthetic, and like there's nothing better than paying homage to some of the great best worst films.
No, absolutely. There's one. I don't know if you have you ever heard the movie. It's kind of a horror film, but it's called Rubber, of the tire that goes and kills people or kills
Yeah,
animals.
yeah, I've seen Robert before. Ridiculous, right? And you can
It's
make
so
a
good.
horror movie out of anything. A killer tire? All right.
Why not? Right? I mean, heck
Yeah,
yeah. I got an idea. Done. Let's do that.
absolutely.
Now, to kind of reverse back, because I could sit and talk about horror for my entire life. You were talking about how you had to take a little bit of break from Kitty, kind of put it to rest for a little bit. What do you say like for bands like, for example, like Motley Crue, like they put away the axes for a little bit, and then all of a sudden they're back with John Five, and then even Kiss called it quits here just recently. And but what about bands that, in a way, decide to take a break, but or say that they're officially done, but then they come back?
Yeah, well, I think it's hard. When like those instances, like a Motley Crue or a Kiss, like those people have been doing this a long time. Like it is their identity, right? It's hard to let go, and so I can understand why the pull of the stage and the pull of creating and the pull of making music can sometimes pull people out of retirement like that. As far as Motley Crue, like in comparison to like us going away and coming back, like didn't they like make a big announcement? They signed some stuff saying they were never going to come back, and then they went back on that like a few years later. So like for us, it was different because we didn't make an announcement, and like that was I would say intentional. For us, Kitty is a big part of who we are, and we wanted to be able to keep the legacy alive, whether or not we were actively making music and touring and stuff like that. And so there was always a little glimmer of hope in the future that maybe one day something could potentially happen, but we didn't want to make any grand declarations because we ourselves were not entirely sure that that was going to be the end of things. Sometimes, life pulls you in a different direction, and I think that's okay.
Yeah.
You find out more about who you are and what you really want out of life, and then when things are right again, like they are right now, like it's the right time.
Yeah, yeah, and no one knows better than you. You're the person that runs the show, so it's like, yeah, it makes sense. And what was I about to say? I just lost my brain here for a second. So yeah, and the fact that Kitty coming back and feeling that rejuvenation. What was it? Disturbed did the similar thing where they kind of, as he said, put the monster to rest because he's David Draymond.
Yes,
Um,
of course.
and then he did Device and then all that, and then they came back home essentially with Disturbed and said, yep, that we're back. Maybe we took our little breather and we now we're back and doing Disturbed stuff again.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think that there's nothing wrong with that. I think sometimes you can find a lot of growth and a lot more about yourself. And in the time that we were away, we also focused on other projects and writing with other people. And sometimes like doing something else can
Mm,
really help to broaden your horizons. And then you all learn something more, and you come back to do Kitty, and you're like, wow, like why does everything like feel so great? It's
yeah,
like, all that time and all that learning that you've done and those experiences you're pouring into this project. So, of
absolutely. So I don't want to take too much of your time, so I got a couple more things. About
course.
10 minutes ago, you just got announced to be on the Return of Mayhem festival that just got announced.
Yeah, we're really, really excited about that. That's something that we've kind of had in our back pocket for a little while. And yeah, we're super excited to be yeah, to be part of it. It's a great lineup, and it's gonna be a great show.
I think it's cool because even like the headliner, Bad Omens, you got Parkway Drive on there, Architects, and then you see Kittie on there as well too with like Born of Osiris and all that. It's like, ooh, a good metal fest for the. And then it's going to go on tour eventually. I think this is like the first show in San Bernardino.
Mhm.
Then it's going to
Yep.
move forward from there. But it's cool to see that Mayhem Festival is back to bring the balls and, and rock and roll.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a great lineup. There's a lot of heavy hitters on there, and I mean, we're honored to be a part of it. So
Well, and you even performed recently at Welcome to Rockville at one of the Danny Wimmer festivals, and those things are ginormous. Those things are huge.
yeah,
Holy
yeah, we
crap.
did Rockville and Sonic Temple. We've been making the Danny Wimmer rounds
Mhm.
these days, but yeah, like always, amazing festivals. The lineups are insane. The crowds are out of this world. And we are just happy to have these opportunities. It was a lot of really great festivals. We did Sick New World earlier this year too. All of these festivals, are leading up to, our own headlining shows, and getting ready to do this, to do it on our own.
Going back on tour again. Make sure you stop by
Yes,
Iowa at least. We have Des Moines and we have the Quad Cities or Cedar Rapids. If you're bored, stop on by to Iowa. We'll get you in the studio. You can sign our wall. We have a big old wall over here. That'd
absolutely.
be cool to have you.
Amazing.
And the last thing I'll mention to you, because I'm a big fanatic of tattoos, I got to give you props on being one of the more least tattooed rock stars out there.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, there's
Everyone I
not
talk
much
to is
going
like
on here.
covered in body. Is there any? Are you just not a tattoo fan, or is just like, yeah, I don't want to, or whatever?
No, I love it, but I feel like I've got something going now. And I feel like, every once in a while I'll be like, oh, I should, it would be cool to get something. But I've always kind of just been scared to be like, well, what if I don't like it
Yeah.
after a while? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Um, Not that I'm like an indecisive person or anything, but I feel like I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, like there's no turning back. I'm, bare arms, just might as well keep it that way.
Yeah. Again, props. Like this took me a long time to like
Thank you.
commit to, and and mom would
Yeah.
always be like, well, I don't know about that. Just mom, you'll never
Yeah, it's
understand.
a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of commitment. I remember like my sister, she's the opposite. She's got like a lot of tattoos, and Mercedes, yeah, she just went for it. I remember my parents, the very first tattoos that she ever got, they were just like, "Oh, why are you doing this?" But she just didn't stop, and is a part of her now. So
It happens. It happens. So, brand new
yeah.
album, obviously coming from Kitty here very soon. Of course, the brand new single as well too, called "We Are Shadows." Currently peaked at number 47 and is still moving, which is awesome. So, Morgan, is there anything you want anyone to know about the upcoming album? Any stuff that's happening soon that we don't know about? Of course, Mayhem Festival. All the above.
Well, I mean, we're just really happy to be back. Thank you to everyone who's supported us over the years, who's been listening. The new album is coming out soon, and it's a banger. So we just hope that everyone takes a listen and enjoys it. That's it.
Thank you. Awesome. Morgan, thank you so much for taking time. It's so cool and such a pleasure
Of
to chat
course.
with you. So, I mean, again, fan for years. My wife also a huge fan as well too. And I told her I was talking to you today. She's like, "Damn it, can I come?" I'm
Oh,
like, I was apparently she's deciding to clean the house today. I don't know.
amazing.
I'm like, okay, someone's got to clean the house, I guess. I don't know. But I'll definitely tell her you say hi.
Yes, please do. Tell her I say what's up.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Morgan. We'll hopefully see you
Cheers.
soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
See you later.
Take care. Bye.